how to cut out the toxic, degenerative noise. Hey, Decide Destiny crew, Kyle Spreedy's here. Thanks for joining me for another Decide Destiny Daily Dose. Today I've got Alpesh on the mic. Say hi to the folks, Alpesh.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? You guys good?
They're good.
They're good? They should be.
They're watching Daily Dose. They should be good. They should be good. Thank you for joining me, guys. Today we're going to discuss some of the Daily Doses together, and the topic for today is decide to cut out the toxic, degenerative noise. So when I think about this, I'm thinking about the fact that we've got such a huge bombardment of information in our modern world. You know, the latest updates, who slapped who, what's the most important thing in the world, you know, what grabs your attention, why this one says this is the most important thing, why that's now no longer important. And it always kind of really surprised me when I grew up, because I grew up with my grandparents, and they would watch like a lot of news, and I'd sit down and watch the news, and I just kind of after a while just saw this kind of routine sort of happening. You know, it was like tragic story, kind of less tragic story, miracle cure on its way.
Oh yes, that's right.
And then finish on sports. And I heard like a psychologist explaining it that takes you through the full emotional scale. So if you've had a mundane day, you come back and you sit down in front of the box, and it gives you your full emotions, you know, and oh wow, I'm going to come back to that. Right. You know, so it's kind of like a relationship, like a hot and fire relationship that makes you go to the pits of misery and up to the skies of euphoria. So that's when I think of, you know, degenerative noise. I kind of think of the, you know, the information that kind of affects us. What do you think about it when you hear
this? Using the news example for, we're now in a phase where news avenues are looking to grab people to watch them. So having the more drastic, the more toxic news, the more, oh my God, we're going to die tomorrow. It's a doomsday.
Perpetual chaos.
That's right. And so from that, it's almost to say, look, run for your lives, buy up everything, become a consumerist society. You're going to die tomorrow. Let's do everything under this planet. Like that camera you wanted to buy, this, that. Let's start a consumerism type of society.
YOLO.
Correct. But even back to the whole toxicity, like we generally as humans have always related to toxicity because we go, well, if there's a lot of toxicity outside, I must be doing not too bad, given that I'm not as bad as what's happening outside in the world. So it's almost like a feel-good thing.
That's a good point.
But also it's
helps with your sandbox belief system.
Correct. And what actually triggers a lot of our fight or flight syndrome is another thing is the negativity and the toxicity. So when you're faced with that, it's going to evoke emotions. It's going to go anything that's mundane. We're not even going to pay attention to it. We're just going to go right. Yeah, it's pretty average.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. People can hardly pay attention to the family member for a conversation or a story. You tell a story that's a little bit long-winded. Correct. Like straight away, where's my phone? Like, you know,
short attention
I need something dramatic. I need someone who's going to hit me in the guts. It's kind of like you said. I found that interesting. Like you're energizing the marketplace through fear.
Correct.
Rather than energizing them through positivity. And it's a funny thing, but like a lot of really intelligent people, I guess, in the marketing world, will do things that is going to cause some ruffle feathers, that are going to cause some hate. That's going to, like, if you want to run a country, you just need half the country to hate you.
Yes.
And the other half, like that whole thing, you know, that whole perspective of the negative information just gets sent out like wildfire.
Correct.
Compared to the sort of positive information. So I know marketers that kind of lean into that.
Well, it's just to create a point of difference. So the point of difference is that toxicity, is that negativity or extremes of behavior that allows people to be captured because they only have nowadays a 5-second window to capture someone, as opposed to back in the day when you're watching the news, you have that commercial break that's about 2 minutes long that can capture you. But coming back to toxicity, what's happened is as a society, we've leaned into toxicity and we've leaned into all that, and we've started to judge ourselves on that toxicity. I think coming back to your daily dose, I would say with the toxicity, it's actually on yourself. Like, what are you going to choose to accept or not? And that's where you can get rid of toxicity from your life, because it's how you behave or how you react to it. And if you know yourself, you're going to find that you're less likely to be affected by the highs and lows of toxicity.
Yeah.
So it's more to that. So we're losing that. We're losing that as a generation because our influences are going so far backwards and forwards with toxicity that we're being pushed and pulled in different waves. But he's got to bring it right back to, actually, do you know what? I will not accept this in my life. I will not accept toxicity, anything that brings my mood down, anything that even too much to an extreme. And once you do that, you sort of rein that toxicity in. So
yeah. And there's I mean, to finish, there's that balance. I agree with what you're saying there. And there's that balance of not just being a airy-fairy positive, like, no, it's okay, Mum's getting chopped off, it's all just fine.
Yes.
Like, you know, there's that whole balance. However, I think you should kind of treat your mind, like Jim Rohn talks about, it stand guard at the door of your mind.
Yes.
But even like look at it like a filtration system rather than a cup, like where things have to go in and stay.
Yes.
You know, look at it as a filtration system, which your mind does naturally. You see so many images, so many, you know, your mind's constantly filtering things out. But what the thing is with the fear and the chaos and the alarming message, that's usually one that will stay at the front. Yep. You know, and so but you can choose. You've got the power of your mind to kind of move that to the filter and go, wait, is this news article about the world ending right now important, or is my family over there more important? And you can move that and filter that out.
Correct.
And go and see, like, you know, spend the time with your family. And so that's what I would say. That's I guess my last tip for this daily dose would be to look at your mind as a filtration system that you actually have the control of.
Correct, and it's your personal control, and that's so take control back to yourself rather than allowing external influences to control you.
Yeah,
and that's how I would probably summarize it.
Awesome. Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks for joining us for this daily dose. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment down below. You know, some of the takeaways you took from today. Like the video if you enjoyed this. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification button if you want to be notified when there's some more daily doses. We'll have a couple more with Alpesh, no doubt. And as always, guys, remember, decide your destiny. You knew it was coming.
He was, absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. See ya.
All right.
Okay, we good.
We good?
Top up that marking.
That was good, man.
Yeah, it was good.
I like the one.
Supposed to format that card.
So there's a thing that you can do.
Yeah.